Alright guys, so I'm just doing a quick little video for two reasons. To show off the Titan class and kind of show off a little bit of the strike mission here on the beta. But I also kind of want to talk about, I made some, what did I do again? Sorry about that guys. I made some links for budget PCs and slightly higher budgeted PCs. And I put them in my last video. I'm going to be also including them in this video. And I'm just going to pretty much talk about a little bit of on that. So I include Canadian and USA prices because they're two different prices and sometimes two different retailers. And it's just going to simplify things much more for everybody. So for Intel's side, on the budget, the reason I picked the Pentium was because it has the same power as my i3, and it's about, in Canada it's about $50 cheaper, and I can't really remember the price in the United States because I don't live there. I do often build and help friends build their PCs for the US, but I don't keep track of the price for i3 because generally everyone builds i5s and i7s. So I picked the Pentium because it generally has the same price as my i3, but it just costs almost half the price. Not literally half the price. I said almost. It's a bit, a couple bucks more. Maybe it's gone up. Prices fluctuate. So anyway, so I put the Pentium with a 1050 Ti, which is pretty much the same power I'm using. And before we get into all this, I'll quickly show you what I play at. So we're gonna go to video, and like I said, so I play at the highest preset. There is no ultra. It goes low, medium, high, highest. I take my anti-aliasing and put SMA, and I keep my settings. I turn off motion blur because I'm not a fan of that, and there you go. I would recommend always leave your VSync on, or else you're going to get some nasty screen tearing. I don't really want to show it off because it gives me a migraine, and there you go. So that's my settings. I'm playing Destiny with the highest settings. I just take anti-aliasing, I switch it to SMA. FPS counter should be here. I noticed the FPS counter for the game doesn't seem to keep up with the GeForce Experience FPS counter. There will be times where in the in-game counter says 30, but my GeForce says like 57 or 58. I don't really understand what's going on. I'm just going to take it for the grant for myself and just say that GeForce is right and the game needs an update, because I don't see how GeForce would be wrong. But that's just me. You know, I could turn out the games right, but regardless, I never have stutter. It's nice and smooth. And we're going to pretty much see that here in a minute. And as for the AMD side, I picked their budget CPU because that CPU is pretty much the equivalent to the Pentium, or the i3 as I could say, but the new Pentium is pretty much the same power as an i3. You're just wasting money on an i3, so it's not worth it. So yeah, so as I'll say now, if you're going to overclock your computer, you're going to want to go with AMD. Once you overclock the AMD, it pretty much has more performance than Intel's lower line. Like the Intel one versus the Pentium, or sorry, no, Pentium versus AMD, or Intel versus AMD, regardless, whatever. So Ryzen 1200 versus the Pentium pretty much has almost the same performance. The Pentium, from what I remember, has a bit more power. Is a little bit better in gaming. You have to overclock the Ryzen to keep up. But once you overclock Ryzen, you're going to have more performance. So if you're going to overclock, just go with Ryzen if you really want. Even if you don't want to overclock, like if you want to overclock but you don't want AMD, I mean, then you're stuck with Intel at that point. But if you're going to overclock, you might as well just, head to the AMD side for a bit and, overclock that. If you don't want to touch overclocking because of the issues, like you can shorten your lifespan. If you do it wrong, you can fry the game. And that is, just stick with AMD. Sorry, with Intel. So I lost track there trying to change the volume. So yeah. AMD if you want to overclock, because that's the CPU for overclocking. Now if you have no intentions of overclocking, just stick with Intel. Because if you go with AMD, you're not going to overclock. You're going to get less performance than you would with Intel in gaming. And that's why I said in gaming. I'm not saying everything. Now, even if you don't want to overclock it a bit, but you're going to be doing other tasks. So like, you're not just going to be doing gaming. You could go with AMD if you really want still. I personally still would recommend Intel just because this is for gaming. So you want more for gaming. So that's for the budget. Even if okay, so now if you're not doing the budget one, well, it's still a budget, but you're going for the slightly more expensive I changed the Pentium to the i5, and I changed the Ryzen to the Ryzen 5. And the reason I did that was to eliminate the bottleneck that you would get using the GTX 1060. Because you would get slight bottleneck. It would still be better than a 1050, but you're still going to get slight bottleneck. So I did that to eliminate bottleneck and to save you guys for the future, in your future. So, and the same will apply. If you're going to overclock, you can go with Ryzen. If you're not overclocking, stick with the i5. And it's the same reason as for Pentium. Some people will argue it, but I mean, you can, from everything I've seen in gameplay and whatnot, you have to overclock Ryzen to catch up.
How dare you?
I'm just going to put that out there. Sorry to hurt everybody. I mean, I'm not saying Ryzen is a bad CPU. Ryzen is very good. It's doing a good job. It's good. It's just that if you're not overclocking it, then it's, in my opinion, it's not really worth it. Because it's a quad core just like the i5, but it won't be able to keep up with the i5 until you start overclocking. And that's the lowest tier of Ryzen. So yeah, if you're going to overclock, go straight with the Ryzen, and if you're not going to overclock, then just, go with Intel. And then at that point, even if you're having favorites between Intel and Ryzen, then that's all on you. As for, I already explained why I changed the GPU and better performance. As you can see how I'm playing this strike mission just fine with the i3, which is the Pentium equivalent. Sorry, Pentium's equivalent to this, but whatever. I'm pretty much gonna have the same. I have the same exact GPU. EVGA one that I put up. I put the EVGA one up just because I'm a big fan of EVGA. I personally find them one of the best companies. They have the best warranties from what I've seen, so that's my opinion. If you want to change the EVGA to a cheaper version, I mean, they're all kind of the same exact price after you get down to it. So the EVGA version has higher clocking speeds, so you get a bit more performance out of it. And, if you want to go for one that's like burying super cheap just to save $5, you can do it. It's all up to you. Even if you want to change the company, you can do that too. But anyway. So yeah, the 1060 and the 1050, two different cards, two different power. So there's those two, change them both. The 1050 Ti with the Pentium will get you be able to play this. It's just exactly how I'm playing it. And if you're planning on playing esports titles like CSGO, Overwatch, Dota, League of Legends, you're going to be pretty, I'd say you're kind of overkill for that though. So you'd be just fine. If you want to do a bit of future-proofing and a bit higher gaming, you can get yourself the other version, which will last you a bit longer, and obviously you can play games at a bit of a higher preset for a little bit longer. Personally, from experience and just experience in general, save up the extra couple bucks, and I would just go for the little bit of a higher tier. It would pay off a little bit in the end. I know I said this is for Destiny, but I mean I'll give you guys a little bit of an idea for other games. I play Fallout 4 with my PC just fine. I usually leave it at the highest preset. I don't get 60 FPS because there's some issues currently with Fallout. They never really, I don't know, they didn't fix something with their shadowing. There are some mods you can get to fix it, like, and I've downloaded some mods, like I usually get about 50 FPS most of the time, 40 when I'm near the higher areas. But I'm not too sure how, from what I remember, there should be, like, there will be a difference with the 1060 version to the 1050 build I have there, but it shouldn't be too crazy. Maybe now with updates that I'm playing a little bit of time. But that's not all I play. Like, I play Battlefield 1 at the highest preset. Usually online, just perfectly fine, no issues. Depending on the map, like 60 to 40 FPS. There's a map where it's really intensive, I get like 30, not 35, like 50 or 40, 50. Most of the time I'm playing that game with about 60 FPS. I've seen people playing it with like 40 on my hardware, so I don't know what that's all. I play that. I play the new Mass Effect. It's a demanding game. Not that people are gonna hate it, but I'm just putting it out there because it has, obviously, it's a bit demanding. I play Witcher 3 at about high ultra, just fine. So I'm not just playing like these games. I play a lot of AAA titles like Shadow of Mordor. I play that. I play Dying Light. I like to keep up with the newer games. I play pretty much everything. Watch Dogs 2. I play. No! He died anyway. So yeah, even if you guys are on a tight budget, you should still be fine going with the build, the cheaper build, the budget build. There should be no issues, other than the fact you might have to upgrade the computer a year or two earlier. Well, you're guaranteed gonna have to upgrade the computer about 2 years earlier. That's just an estimate, but it's, you know, it's guaranteed you're gonna have to upgrade before they do.
Cabal scientists can take a punch, but they're not very smart.
As for gaming,
well,
not gaming, but controls, you don't, if you do not want to use a keyboard and mouse to play your games, you do not have to. You can use a controller. I often use my PS4 controller. You can use a PS4 controller or an Xbox One controller. It is all on you, whatever you want to use. In those builds, I did not include keyboard, mouse, monitor. That's you guys. If you want, I recommend for the keyboard and the mouse, there's a combo called the Cooler Master Devastator 2. And it's by the company Cooler Master, well, brand company, it's the same thing. Cooler Master is a known brand for computer parts, so you can, there's no issue. A friend of mine bought that keyboard with my recommendation. He lives right next street, and he's had no issues. It's actually, he loves the keyboard. As for a monitor, I had another friend who built a top-of-line computer. I mean, like all the top parts he can buy. And he went with a $100 1080p monitor, and he plays like PUBG just fine. I mean, also, speaking of PUBG, I play that too with this setup. No issues. So, you don't have to go crazy on a keyboard and mouse. You do not have to go crazy on a monitor. You can, you know, throw something together. If you really want help, send me a message, put a comment. I'll, you know, just saying if you want help with that. I can link you a cheap monitor that I think would be okay with you, and I can link you, like I said, the keyboard. Most of the time, though, if I do builds with the keyboard and mouse, I will probably be recommending the Cooler Master Devastator because, like, it's cheap. Like in America, I think it's about $20. You're paying $10 for the keyboard, $10 for the mouse. They're not really poor quality either. They're good keyboards and mouses. It's built by Cooler Master, so I usually would recommend that. For monitors, that changes depending on what sale of the week, so that'll be varying. So that's pretty much all. I guess for hard drives, you know, I'll just put a terabyte. That should be good for now. It's up to you guys if you want to swap that. And yeah, man. Or, yeah, guys. My bad. I apologize. So, I know I rambled on. Pretty boring video, I'm assuming, but it's to help people who are trying to, you know, buy a computer for Destiny, or, you know, even if you're watching this video and you want to really buy Destiny and you're still interested in a cheap-ass computer, you can still look at those links. And it's all on you to, you know, do what you want to do. If you want help building another computer, you don't want to build those, you have a bigger budget, you know, you want something more, go ahead and send me a message and I will get back to you the minute I have time and help you out. There would be no problem to me. Just let me know what you need. Even if you need it with keyboard, mouse, monitor, whatever, you know, go ahead and let me know, and I would, you know, I can get back to you as fast as I can. And I don't mind taking time to help you guys put together a computer that you would want to build. So, and as for the rest of the video now, that should be about it. Didn't get to show you guys the whole strike mission. That ended a little longer, quicker than I wanted. So I'm not going to ramble on as much and bore you guys to death. So yeah, take a look at those links if you're interested in building a computer, play this game on the cheap. And let me know if you end up taking an interest. If you liked the video, put a like. Obviously dislike if you didn't like it. I know it was a boring video, but it was pretty much there to also for like reasons you know, to help you guys with the computer thing, show off the strike mission, also see how the mic is working now. I think I've got it working. So alright guys, that's all for today. Sorry for boring you to death. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.